Who is it who created the heavens and the earth and sends down rain for you from the sky, with which we have produced delightful gardens? You cannot make its trees grow. Is there another God along with Allah? On the contrary, they are people who have turned away from truth. Who is it who made the earth a place for you to live, made rivers to flow in it, made mountains, and set a barrier between the two seas? Is there another God along with Allah? No, most of them are ignorant. Who answers the distressed when they cry out to Him, removes suffering and causes you to inherit the land? Is there another God beside Allah? How little you reflect. Who is it who guides you through the darkness on land and sea? And who is it who sends winds heralding glad tidings of His kindness in the form of rain? Is there another God beside Allah? Allah is far exalted above anything they associate as partners with Him. Who sets in motion the process of creation, then returns it to its former state? And who provides for you from the earth and sky? Is there another God beside Allah? Say, fetch your proof if you're telling the truth. Say, no one in the heavens or on earth has knowledge of the unseen except Allah, nor do they have any knowledge of when they will be resurrected. Can their knowledge comprehend the hereafter? On the contrary, they have doubts about it. In fact, they are blind to it. The disbelievers say, how can it be that when we and our forefathers have turned to dust, we will be brought back to life? We and our forefathers were promised this before. This is merely a tale of the ancient people. Say, travel on the earth and see the fate of the sinners. Do not grieve over them, Messenger, nor be anxious about what they are plotting. They say, when will this promise be fulfilled if you are telling the truth? Say, it may be what you seek to hasten is already close behind you. Your Lord is most gracious towards people, but most are ungrateful. And your Lord knows whatever their hearts conceal and what they reveal. There is nothing hidden in the earth or sky which is not found in a clear book. The Quran narrates most of the disagreements of the Israelites. It is a guidance and kindness for the believers. Your Lord will decide wisely between them. He is the Almighty, the Knowing. So trust in Allah, for you are clearly in the right. You can no more make the deaf hear the call than you can the dead if they turn their backs on you. Nor are you there to guide the blind away from their error. Only those will hear you who believe in our signs and submit to our will. When the judgment against them comes to pass, we shall bring forth from the earth a beast that will tell them about the people who didn't believe in our signs. And on the day when we gather from every community an army of those who denied our signs, they will march in ranks. And when they arrive before Him, He will say, did you deny my signs despite not comprehending them? If not, what were you doing? And as the decree is passed against them because of their wrongdoing, they will say nothing. Haven't they seen we made the night for them to rest and the day to give them light? In that there is a sign for people who believe. And on the day that the trumpet is blown, all those in the heavens and the earth will be terrified, except those whom Allah pleases to protect. Each of them shall come to Him humbly, and you will see the mountains which you thought were fixed, floating like clouds. This is the handiwork of Allah, who has perfected everything. He is fully aware of what you do. Whoever brings good deeds with him shall receive even better in return, and they will be safe from the terror of that day. But anyone who comes with evil deeds will be hurled face down into the fire and asked, have you not been rewarded for what you did? I have been ordered to worship the Lord of the city, who made it sacred, and all things belong to Him. And I have been ordered to be among the committed, who recite the Quran. Thereafter, whoever is guided, it is for his own benefit, and anyone who goes astray, tell them, I am a warner, and say, praise be to Allah. He will show you His signs and you will recognize them. Your Lord is not unaware of what you do. Surat Al-Qasas, the story. In the name of Allah, the kind, the caring. Ta, Sin, Mim. These are the verses of the clear book in which we recite to you part of the story of Musa and Pharaoh for those who believe. Pharaoh was unjust to people and divided them by their ethnicity, oppressing one group of them by killing their sons while keeping their women alive. He oppressed others. Our plan was to favor the victims in the land and to make them leaders and heirs, to settle them in the land and through them to force Pharaoh, Haman and their armies to face their worst fears. We inspired the mother of Musa, breastfeed him, but when you fear for him, then put him in a basket and let it float on the river. But don't be afraid or sad. We shall return him to you and make him a messenger. Members of Pharaoh's household found him by chance. Little did they know he would become their enemy and a cause of grief. Pharaoh, Haman and their armies were gravely mistaken. Pharaoh's wife said, "He would be a joy to behold for me and you, so don't kill him. He may be useful for us. Or we could adopt him without the Israelites realizing." The heart of Musa's mother was empty, and she nearly revealed his identity if we hadn't strengthened her resolve to remain silent about him. She told his sister, "Follow him." From the riverbank, she kept an eye on him without letting the Egyptians see her. We made him reject the breast milk of the wet nurse. So his sister said to them, "Shall I show you a household that will look after him for you and take good care of him?" So we returned him to his mother to be a comforting sight for her sore eyes, so she wouldn't be anxious and know that Allah's promise is true, though many people don't know. When he had grown up and reached maturity, we blessed him with wisdom and knowledge. That's how we reward the righteous. One day, he entered the town while people were resting and found two men fighting, one from his ethnic group and the other from his enemy. The one from his ethnic group cried out to him for help against the one from his enemy's group. So Musa punched him so hard that it finished him off. Musa said, "This is the work of Satan. He is clearly an enemy who leads people astray." Then he said, "My Lord, I have done wrong, so forgive me." Allah forgave him, the forgiving, the caring. Musa said, "My Lord, because you gave me favors, I will never stand up for criminals again." From then on, he became fearful in the town, constantly on the lookout. Next day, the man who previously sought his help again cried out. Musa said, "You are clearly a deceitful man." Musa tried to grab the enemy, and the Israelites said, "Musa, are you going to kill me like you killed someone yesterday? You want to be an oppressor in the land. You've no wish to do good." A man from the far side of town came running and said, "Musa, members of the Pharaoh's court are deliberating whether to have you killed. So leave now. I am your well-wisher." So he left the city in fear and remained wary. He prayed, "My Lord, save me from this nation of wrongdoers." Having set out for Madian, he said to himself, "Perhaps my Lord will guide me towards a straight path." After he arrived at the water well of Madian, he found a large crowd of people watering their flocks. He saw standing apart from them two women holding their sheep back. He asked, "What is the matter with you?" They said, "We can't water our sheep until the shepherds move off. Our father is an elderly man, unable to help us." So Musa watered their sheep. Then he turned to rest in the shade, praying, "My Lord, I am in desperate need of whatever good you may send down to me." One of the two women came to him, walking shyly, and said, "My father is calling you to reward you for watering our flock." Musa went and told him the whole story. He said, "Don't be afraid. You have been saved from nation of wrongdoers." One of them said, "My dear father, why not employ him? The best person you can employ is strong and trustworthy." He said, "I wish to marry you to one of the two daughters of mine, on the condition that you work for me for 8 years. If you complete 10 years, that will be up to you. I won't impose it on you. Allah willing, you will find me to be upright in my dealings." Musa said, "That's agreed between you and me. Whichever of the two terms I fulfill, let there be no resentment towards me, and let Allah be a guarantor of what we decide." Once Musa had completed his term in Madian, he set off with his family to Egypt. On the way, he noticed a fire burning by the side of the mountain. He told his wife, "Wait here for a while. I've noticed a fire. Maybe I'll bring you some news from there, or some embers from the fire so that you may warm yourself." When he reached it, a voice called out from the tree on the right-hand side of the valley in that blessed spot, "Musa, it is I, Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Throw down your shepherd's staff." When he saw it wriggling like a snake, he turned and fled without looking back. "Musa, go ahead and pick it up, and don't be afraid, you are safe. Put your hand to your chest, and it will come out brilliant white and unharmed. Now hold your arm close to you to rid yourself of fear. Here are 2 proofs from your Lord to show to Pharaoh and his nobles. They are sinners." Musa said, "My Lord, I killed one of their men. I fear they'll kill me. My brother Harun is more eloquent in speech than I am, so send him with me as a support to confirm what I say, for I fear they will reject me." Allah said, "We shall strengthen your arm with your brother and give you both authority, so that they don't harm you. Because of our signs, the 2 of you and whoever follows you will be victorious." When Musa came with our clear signs to them, they said, "This is nothing but clever tricks of magic, and we never heard this message from our forefathers." Musa said, "My Lord knows best who comes from him with his guidance and who will enjoy the final abode, but the wrongdoers won't succeed." Pharaoh said, "My nobles, I know of no other God for you than myself. Haman, bake bricks of clay and build a tower for me, so that I may ascend to the God of Musa." Though I know he's a liar, and so it was that he and his armies, without any justification, were arrogant in the country, thinking they would never be returned to us. So we seized him and his armies and threw them into the sea. See the fate of the wrongdoers? We made them foremost amongst those who call others to the fire, and on Judgment Day they will be helpless. We tracked them with a curse in this world, and on Judgment Day they will be the most despised. We gave Musa the book after we destroyed previous rebellious generations to be examples for all people, a guidance and kindness, so they might pay heed. You were not present on the west side of the mountain when we handed down our commandments to Musa. You weren't witnesses. However, we raised successive generations who lived long lives, nor did you live among the people of Madian, reciting our verses to them. But we sent them messengers nonetheless. Nor were you on the mountainside when we called Musa, but you have been sent as a kindness from your Lord to warn those people to whom no warner was sent before you, so they might wake up to the reality. When a disaster strikes them due to their evil actions, they pray, "Our Lord, had you sent us a messenger, we would have followed your verses and become believers." However, when our truth reached them, they said, "Why wasn't he given a book like the one Musa was given?" They also denied what was given to Musa, saying, "2 competing works of magic," and said, "We reject each of them." Say, "So produce a book from Allah for me to follow that is a better guide than either of them, if you are telling the truth." If they fail to respond to you, then know that they are following their likes and dislikes. And who is more misguided than the one who follows his impulses without any guidance from Allah? Allah does not guide people who do wrong. We cause the message to reach them so they may pay heed. Those given the book previously believe in it, and when it is recited to them, they say, "We believe in it. It is the truth from our Lord. And even before this, we had surrendered ourselves to Allah's will." Such people will be given double reward because of their patience, and secondly, they stop evil with good, and they spend in charity what we provided them. And when they hear idle talk, they turn away from it, saying, "We have our deeds and you have yours. Peace be upon you." We don't envy the ignorant. Messenger, you can't guide who you love, but Allah guides anyone He chooses, and Allah knows the guided. The Meccans say, "If we followed your religion, then we would be unsafe in our city. Haven't we settled them in a safe and sacred place where fruits of every sort are brought? A provision from us." Yet most of them remain ignorant. How many cities have we destroyed that were disrespectful due to their lavish lifestyles? Their homes are there, scarcely lived in since their day, and we took them. Your Lord never destroyed cities without first sending a messenger to their affluent people who recited to them our verses. Nor did we destroy any city unless its population were wrongdoers. What you receive from Allah are the passing pleasures and attractions of this worldly life. But what Allah has stored for you is far better and long-lasting. Don't you understand? Is the person who we made a beautiful promise of paradise the same as the person who enjoys the pleasures of worldly life? On Judgment Day, he will be summoned to account for his deeds. On that day, Allah will call them, "Where are the partners you associated with me?" Those questioned will say, "Our Lord, here are the ones we led astray. We led them astray since we were misguided. We declare ourselves innocent before you. They were not worshipping us." Then they will be told, "Call on your partners for help." And when they call them, they will not answer. When they see the punishment, they'll wish they had, if only they had been guided. On the day that he calls them saying, "How did you respond to the messengers?" They will be so confused by the events of the day that they won't be able to consult one another. Those who repented, believed and performed good deeds will be among the successful. Your Lord creates whatever He wills and then makes His selection. The choice is not theirs. Glory be to Allah. Far exalted is Allah above whatever they associate with Him as partners. And your Lord knows what their hearts conceal and reveal. He is Allah. There is no God but Him. All praise in this world and the next is His. The final judgment rests with Him, and to Him you will return. Say, have you considered if Allah plunged you into unending night until Judgment Day? Which God beside Allah could bring you light? Do you not hear? Say, have you considered if Allah were to make your daylight unending until Judgment Day? Which God is there beside Allah to bring you night in which to rest? Do you not see? Through His kindness, He has made for you both night and day, so you may rest in one and seek His bounty in the other, and be thankful. On the day that He calls them saying, "Where are the partners that you ascribed to me?" On that day, we shall take from each community a witness and say, "Fetch me your proof," so they know the truth belongs to Allah, and that whatever they invented has deserted them. Qarun was from Musa's people, but unkind to them. We gave him so much treasure that the keys alone would have weighed down a dozen or so strong men. His people told him, "Do not be proud of your wealth. Allah dislikes those who brag. Instead, use some of what Allah has given you to secure your place in the final home, at the same time not losing your share in this world. Treat others as well as Allah has treated you, and do not wreak havoc in the land. Allah dislikes those who wreak havoc." Qarun said, "I have been given it because of my expertise and knowledge." Didn't he realize that Allah destroyed people of previous generations who were far stronger and wealthier than him? The guilty won't be asked about their sins. So one day he went out among his people, dressed in his finery, and those who yearned for this worldly life said, "Oh, if only we had been given the same as Qarun, he's most fortunate." But those who had been given knowledge said, "Woe to you! Allah's reward for believers and the righteous is better. The patient will achieve that." So it was. We made the earth swallow him and his mansion. There was no rescue party to help him beside Allah, nor was he able to protect himself. Those who only the other day had longed to be in his place said, "Alas, it seems Allah gives in abundance to whichever of His servants He pleases, and in strict measure. If Allah hadn't been gracious to us, He might have destroyed us too. Alas, it's apparent, the ungrateful fail. Such is the final abode. We grant it to those who desire neither grandeur nor wreak havoc in the land. And the best outcome is for those mindful of Allah. Anyone who does good deeds will be generously rewarded with something wonderful. And anyone who does evil deeds will be rewarded for what they did. The legislator of the laws of the Quran will return you to Makkah. Say, my Lord knows who is guided and who is misguided. You weren't expecting to be given the book. It was due to your Lord's kindness, so don't be a helper of the disbelievers. And let no one distract you from acting on Allah's verses after they are revealed to you. Call people to your Lord, and don't be an associator of partners with Allah. Don't call others God beside Allah. There is no God but Him. Everything will perish except the face of Allah. He will make the final judgment, and to Him you will be returned. Surat Al-Ankabut, the Spider. In the name of Allah, the kind, the caring. Alif, Lam, Mim. Do people think they will be left alone once they've declared, "We believe," then will not be tested? We tested those before them. Allah knows the truthful and the liars. Or do evildoers think they can beat us? How wrong they judge. Anyone expecting to meet Allah should know Allah's appointed time is fast approaching, and He is the hearer, the knower. Whoever strives hard, he strives for his benefit. Allah is self-sufficient, independent of all creation. The believers who do good works will have their sins erased, and we shall reward them in the best way for what they did. We urged humanity to treat their parents well. But if they strive to get you to associate with me anything you have no knowledge of, then do not obey them. You will return to me, when I shall inform you of what you did. The believers who do good works, we shall join them with the righteous. Some people say, "We believe in Allah," but when they are persecuted for the sake of Allah, they consider people's persecution like Allah's punishment. But if help arrives from your Lord, they say, "We were with you all along." Surely, Allah knows best what is in people's minds. Allah knows the believers and the hypocrites. The disbelievers say to the believers, "Follow in our footsteps, and we will bear the burden of your sins." Though they won't carry the believers' sins, they are lying. However, they will carry their own burdens and other burdens beside, and on Judgment Day, they will be questioned about whatever falsehood they made up. We sent Nuh to his people. He lived amid them for 1,000 years less 50, till the flood took them, and they were still unrepentant wrongdoers. We saved him and the companions of the ark, which we made a sign for all people, and Ibrahim too, when he said to his people, "Worship Allah and be mindful of Him. That is better for you if only you knew. Whatever you worship beside Allah are nothing but idols. You create a lie. Those you worship beside Allah have no power to provide for you. So seek provision from Allah. Worship and thank Him. Eventually you will return to Him." Makkans, if you reject the message, you will be like so many other nations before you. The messenger's task is to convey the message clearly. Have they not considered how Allah sets creation in motion and then periodically restores it? That is easy for Allah. Say, wander about in the land and see how He previously set creation in motion. Then Allah will bring into being the life of the hereafter. Allah has power over everything. He punishes whomever He wills, and He shows kindness to whomever He wills, and eventually you will revert back to Him. You can't defeat Allah, either on earth or in the sky. You have no protector or a helper beside Allah. People who deny Allah's signs and meeting Him despair of receiving my kindness, and they will have a painful punishment. The only response Ibrahim's people gave was, "Kill him or burn him." But Allah rescued him from the fire. There are signs in that for the believers. Ibrahim said, "The reason you adopted idols beside Allah is the love of this life, something that you have in common. On Judgment Day, you will disown and curse each other when you will see that your home will be the fire and you have no helpers." Lut believed in Ibrahim when he told him, "I am migrating to my Lord. He is the Almighty, the Wise." We granted Ibrahim Ishaq and Yaqub, planting prophethood in his offspring and knowledge of the book. And we rewarded him in this life, and in the hereafter he will be amid the righteous. And Lut, when he said to his people, "You approach gross indecency in a way no one in the whole world has done before you. How can you approach men, kidnap them, and perform repulsive acts in the clubs where you meet?" His people's response was, "Fetch us Allah's punishment if you are telling the truth." Lut prayed, "My Lord, support me against people who are spoilers." Our messengers came to Ibrahim with the good news of a child. Then they told him, "We came to destroy the people of this city. Its residents are wrongdoers." He quipped, "But Lut is living there." They said, "We know who is living there. We will save him and his household, except for his wife, who will remain behind." When our messengers came to Lut, he felt distressed since he couldn't protect them. But the angel said, "Don't be afraid or sad. We are here to save you and your household, except for your wife, who will remain behind. We are to bring down a plague from the sky against the residents of this city because of their habitual sinfulness. We have left enough remains of it behind to be a clear sign for people who reflect." To Madian, we sent their brother Shu'aib, who said, "My people, worship Allah and long for the last day, and don't roam the land wreaking havoc." Yet they rejected him. So an earthquake took them all of a sudden, and by the next morning they lay dead in their homes. Similarly, Ad and Thamud, what happened to them is quite clear from the ruins of their homes. Satan made their deeds appear attractive to them, preventing them from the path of Allah, though they could tell right from wrong. Musa came with clear proofs to Qarun, Pharaoh and Haman, but they were arrogant in the land. They weren't the first, so we punished each one of them for their crime. We sent sandstorms, the blast, swallowed them in the bowels of the earth, and others we drowned. Allah did not wrong any of them, rather, they wronged themselves. An example of those who adopt gods beside Allah is like a spider that spins a web, and a spider's web is the weakest of homes, if only they knew. Allah knows what they call on beside Him is nothing. He is the Almighty, the Wise. We give people such examples, and the knowledgeable understand them. Allah has created the heavens and the earth, and in that there is a sign for the believers. Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings with you all. Thank you for visiting our channel. Please remember us in your du'as. If you enjoy listening to this translation of the Holy Quran, please consider subscribing and sharing our efforts with everyone and anyone. May Allah accept this effort of ours as sadaqah for us and our loved ones, and make it a means of our success in this life and the Akhira. Ameen, summa Ameen.